Happy weekend, everyone. Welcome into CST Daily. I'm Tina Nguyen, and it is great to have CHSN's Clay Harbor here in studio with us to discuss all things NFL and the Bears. Clay, how you doing?
Doing good. It may be the offseason for the Bears. We still got plenty of stuff to talk about. Got free agents, you got draft, you got what should Ryan Poles do in this time? A lot of fun stuff still to talk about, Tina.
I mean, come on. There's truly no offseason in the NFL, right?
No offseason. Obviously, I've been a part of it. I played 9 years in the league. The offseason, there is no offseason, and this is an important time, not only for the players, but also for the management, the GMs, the coaches, the scouting the players, the finding the free agents. There's a lot of stuff that the teams, coaches, GM, management should be doing right now.
Yeah, and of course, let's start here because it is that time of the year, as you said. A lot of teams are making coaching and front office changes. Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham has found a new home with the Atlanta Falcons as their new general manager. Cunningham spent the last 4 seasons as Ryan Poles' right-hand man, played a pivotal role in helping him rebuild this roster to where it is today. He's interviewed the last few years for GM jobs with multiple teams. Last year was a finalist for the Jaguars GM position. But Clay, this move comes at a cost. The Bears will not receive compensatory picks for losing him. More on that in just a moment. But first off, why is this the right time right now for Ian Cunningham to take this GM role?
I think it's a good spot for him. He's learned a lot under Ryan Poles. He's got a chance to really be in the building with Ben Johnson and see how he works. And last year was before they had a really good team. Now we get to see what a successful team is made of. The Bears made a playoff run. They won a playoff game. So I think it's a good time for him. And as you alluded to, unfortunately, the Bears don't get the 2 compensatory picks for hiring a minority, the Rooney Rule. If a GM or someone from the front office gets a position of power with another team, the team that he's coming from gets awarded a compensatory pick. The Bears don't get that because he'll be second in line under Matt Ryan, who is the president of football operations. So unfortunately, you don't get the pick, but happy for Ian Cunningham. He really cut his teeth here, helped Ryan Poles deliver on this roster and help this Bears team to the first playoff win in years.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, it's certainly been a huge talking point right now in the NFL. Ian Cunningham, of course, takes over for Terry Fontenot, who was fired alongside Raheem Morris. Atlanta went 8-9 this season. Falcons have not been to the postseason or tallied a winning season since 2017. Ryan Poles, of course, has a long history with Matt Ryan. They were, of course, college teammates at Boston College. But Clay, this Rooney Rule, I mean, it just feels wrong that the Bears don't get picks back, but because on paper it is a bit of a lateral move. But again, I mean, he's going to be now the GM. He doesn't have the final say, but he gets a raise and all that stuff. Why is that?
For me, I would maybe file some form of appeal because you're going from assistant GM to general manager, and the Falcons did create a new position, but he is still getting a raise. He's going up in his position. So it feels like he should get the opportunity. The Bears should get the opportunity because they had someone from their system go to another system in a higher position. So it comes down to the letter of law, but right now, from what we know, the Bears will not receive the picks. And I think that's something they could use because they are pretty tight on cap space when it comes to free agency.
Yeah, before we dive deeper, though, into the Bears, important news in the NFC North. On Friday, the Vikings fired GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah after 4 seasons. A stunning move after he gave his end-of-season press conference, even made an appearance at the Senior Bowl. How much, though, will letting Sam Darnold walk here haunt him?
Oh, it was huge. I think that was a big part of it. Kwesi was probably the guy that had the most to say in that. If he keeps Sam Darnold, and obviously Darnold going to the Super Bowl, doesn't help things. It shows that you could have been successful with him, and the Vikings had a great roster. They had a roster that was good enough to go to the Super Bowl. If you had a guy like Sam Darnold there, their defense was just as good. Here's where he messed up, though. None of his draft picks really panned out. He had Jordan Addison was probably his best draft pick. Besides that, you can't really think of another guy. Will Riker, a kicker. I'm sorry, if you're hanging your head on a kicker that you took in the 6th rounds when your draft picks, you know you're not doing well there. To me, what's puzzling is the timing. If this happens right after the season, fine. But the fact that you're in the midst of scouting, of putting your team together, you're literally at the Senior Bowl yesterday to come back to a pink slip in your locker, that's strange. And I think some of it does have to do with, as you said, Sam Darnold being so successful in Seattle.
Yeah, and by the way, he received an extension last year. I feel like this, though, as you said, wouldn't be as stunning if this would have happened right after the season ended. Darnold, by the way, left in free agency, went to Seattle on a 3-year, $100 million deal. And as you said, he's getting ready to play in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And of course, let's talk about this Bears offense and Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson has not only revived this franchise, but in this organization, of course, but in year one, this offense, the Bears finished top 10 in multiple categories: scoring, total yards, rushing attack, passing offense, turnovers, and sacks allowed. What should be the focus for Caleb Williams in this offseason, Clay?
This offseason is completely different than last offseason. I've been a part of seasons to where you're trying to learn a system, right? So you go in, the alliteration that was made was you're drinking through a fire hose. Now, you know what the offense is. So now, instead of focusing on what do I have to do, how do we run these motions, how do we get out of this huddle, how do we get in the right position to run these plays, now you can start focusing on the defense. What are they doing to try to stop us and find the weak parts of this defense? So instead of learning basic math like I did in high school, you're doing trigonometry, advanced stuff like you did in high school, the stuff to lead to college. So he's going to be getting a much higher level of what the defenses are trying to give him. And for that reason, I think they will be a lot more successful.
I felt like, too, as towards the end of the season, the last few games, it felt like it really started to slow down for him, and he was really beginning to process and really understanding Ben Johnson's offense. I talked to Tom Thayer a lot on Sundays when they come in here to record Game Day Live, and he said it's really like learning a whole different language, right? And that's what Caleb has had to do here, especially in Ben Johnson's offense. All right, how much of the narrative is Caleb Williams and his inaccuracy issues being overblown here? Because we've seen, right, the drop passes with the receivers, and part of me feels like you look at Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, even Rome Odunze in his second year. These are young guys, so I feel like it's going to take time to really build a connection. More reps will be helpful, but how much is that narrative just kind of being overblown?
I think it's overblown because you saw he has been efficient when it matters, right? He has had some accuracy issues. I think that's the number one thing that you want to focus on for Caleb Williams this offseason. A lot of your footwork, timing up your footwork to the route concept. What I mean by that is 1, 2, 3. When you're at the back of your route, the back of your drop, the route should be starting its break. You should get the ball out on time. Timing more than accuracy is the issue when it comes to a lot of these quarterbacks. So make sure the timing is correct. Caleb's already talking about in the offseason before OTA starts, he's going to get together with his receivers, and they're going to go over things even before he gets back here for OTAs. I think he does have to improve, but that improvement's going to come because he's more familiar and he's more comfortable with this offense. He's seen this stuff before. This is going to be his third, fourth time really going over this offense. He learned it once in OTAs. They came back. They did it again in training camp. They came back and did it again when the regular season started. Now he's going to get to go through all that again, Tina, and he's just going to know this offense in and out. There's no bigger jump in the first season to a second season in the offense. I've been there before because now you know what you're looking for. Now you start focusing on what the defense is doing, and it helps you become more successful because everything becomes second nature.
At what point in the season did you believe that Caleb Williams is the real deal, or have you always believed that he is the real deal for this franchise?
I wish I could say I always believed, but Tina, I saw you out there a lot in training camp, and I wasn't believing in training camp. I was saying, man, a lot of this is tough, but that shows you how much this kid's improved, and I think that's special. In training camp, they were struggling to get out the huddle sometimes. Yeah. He's missing gimme throws. Then you fast forward to the middle of the season. I'll say middle of the season, that's when you start to really see, maybe a couple of these comebacks aren't just luck. You start to see this guy's heart rate really does slow down in the clutch time. What you want is a quarterback that plays his best when the chips are down, the gotta-have-it moments, and that's what you saw from Caleb this year with the 7 comebacks in under 2 minutes, obviously. He gets better the tougher the game gets. As long as I played football, I played with a number of guys, not many quarterbacks. I did play Tom Brady, so I can't say not all of them. Not many quarterbacks are like that to where they play better the tougher, the harder when the game's on the line, and that's exactly what Caleb Williams does.
We know that Caleb Williams, right, he's got a strong arm, he's elusive, he's got some speed, he's durable as well. What kind of step forward do you think he can take in year 3 in the NFL, but also year 2 in Ben Johnson's offense?
Yeah, like I've said, I think this offense, you're going to open up so many more things. Ben Johnson has different forms of offense, right? He's calling his basic offense right now. Obviously, he's throwing some tricks, some motions. I think you're going to see Ben Johnson take another step in his creativity because now he knows, hey, Caleb Williams can handle this. Early in the season, He didn't know that. He knows that Caleb's a smart, intelligent guy. He's going to work to understand this stuff, and he's got players that are smart too. So with Ben getting more creative, you're going to see more creative positions that he puts Caleb in. He's going to put Colson Loveland in more creative positions, as you saw him doing near the end of the season. He's realizing that these two tight ends, Kmet, Loveland, you can come out in 3 tight end sets and then split these guys out. And now you got mismatches because there's linebackers out wide trying to guard Colson Loveland, who runs a 4.5 40, 6'5", 260 pounds, and can run like a deer. So I think you're going to keep seeing everybody improve, because Ben's improving and gaining more confidence in knowing what each player's strength is.
Love the size there of Colson Loveland, as you mentioned, and more on him in just a moment as well. But I feel like, too, of course, we've come such a long way with Caleb Williams when it goes back to being at training camp, the footwork, learning to play under center as well. Caleb Williams, though, second year in the NFL, set the Bears' single-season franchise record with 3,942 passing yards, breaking Eric Kramer's 1995 record. He wrapped up this year with 27 touchdowns as well and 7 interceptions. He also set rookie records in 2024. Clay, will he end up being the best quarterback this franchise has seen? Because we got to admit, the bar here has been set kind of low.
I'm going to say something crazy. I think he might already be the best quarterback this franchise has seen. I know you got Jay Cutler. I know you can go to Jim McMahon. Sid Luckman. People say Sid Luckman. We weren't alive when Sid Luckman was playing football. I'm sorry. I don't know you, Sid. I don't know if Sid's still around. I doubt it. But Eric Kramer, Jay Cutler, Jim McMahon, Caleb Williams can do things that these guys only could dream about. We saw what Caleb's able to do in playoff games, getting the team to the playoffs, that Green Bay game. The play he made against the Rams when he's scrambling back 20 yards to throw a touchdown. I think this guy has shown that he is already the best quarterback in Bears history, but I think he's going to become one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL next season.
We've seen nearly 8 fourth-quarter comebacks from this team this season. What can they do overall to avoid being what happened to the Commanders, right, where we saw a lot of that late-game magic, and then this season they just fizzled out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot they can do there. And it comes to getting started early. You see how they were always able to be better in the second half of games.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that shows a coaching staff is good. Ben Johnson had the highest EPA, and that's, Ben Johnson said when he got here, EPA is more important than turnovers. And the Bears end up having the most turnovers in the NFL. I thought that was pretty funny. EPA in the second half was #1 in the league. Now we need to make sure that you're starting fast. If they can get a solid start. Don't start behind. I don't know. Figure out these guys, why Caleb would miss throws early, throws that he's connecting on late. Get the running game early, and then you won't be in these situations to where you have to lock in and come back. I think that's easily fixable. Run them through training camp, OTAs. Figure out the plays that these guys like to run early, the ones that they're most comfortable with. When you're starting your first 15, your best plays at first to make sure you get a good start, and then you're obviously setting up plays near the end of the game.
How much of their inability to be able to start fast had to do with them being a young team? Because I feel like sometimes when you are a young team, you don't have the right mindset when it comes to starting games, but especially right in the playoffs too.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with being young. You haven't seen a lot of situations, and maybe when a defense comes out and shows you something that you're not used to, showing you a different defense, it takes them until halftime to go in and talk to the coaches and say, okay, here's what they're giving us. They're giving us a cover 2, and we're expecting them to give us a cover 3. When we're lining up in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends to the right, we got doubles right. Instead of them lining up with an overhang, they have a 9-technique defensive end. There's a lot of things that they'll do to you. And before you have a chance to go to halftime and talk it over with your coaches, you can't figure it out. Once you're a little bit older, on the field, you can start making these adjustments, and you can say, hey, this is what they're doing. We're going to come out, we're going to do this, and not wait until halftime to where we get it straightened out.
All right, to round out our Bears offense discussion, as well as Caleb Williams, we saw a ton of great plays from him, a lot of memorable ones as well. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, man, this is sad because it was in a loss, but my favorite had to be the Rams play. When he's scrambling back, I almost dropped I was drinking a water because I'm on dry January, but I almost dropped my water. I think the game's over. Next thing you know, he launches the ball. I go, wait a second. Colt Kmet is right there in the end zone. I go, no way, he catches it. Colt Kmet catches it, hits the home run like he always does out of the park. And I go, no way,
Former
they
baseball
just
player.
did that. And then they end up losing the game.
Okay.
But that was my favorite.
Mine is when they played Green Bay, the 40-yard touchdown pass to DJ Moore in overtime. The final score for that one was 22-16. Would love to see more of that in the seasons to come.
No pun intended?
Do what?
No pun intended. You said more of that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, there you go. You are a former tight end, played in the NFL for 9 years, studying Colston Loveland. Who does he remind you of, and what is his ceiling?
It's tough because this guy is a player to where he can do everything. As a receiver, he kind of reminds me a little bit of a Zach Ertz, maybe a little bit more explosive, but he's his own man because he can run, he can block, he can catch. I played with Gronk. He's not as big as Gronk. He blocks nearly as good as Gronk does. I played with Eric Ebron. I played with Zach Ertz. I played with a lot of these tight ends, Kobe Fleener, Brent Selleck. Colston Loveland has a chance to be the best tight end in the NFL, and I'm not exaggerating. The way he runs routes like a wide receiver. He's extremely intelligent in his route running. He knows where to press the defensive backs. He knows how to see when it's man versus when it's zone, how to run the routes differently. And then in the blocking game, he can hold his own against a defensive end. He can block a linebacker out the room. He can block a defensive end out the stadium, or a defensive back, out the stadium. So this guy is just a weapon. If you don't match him with a defensive back, he's going to be too fast for a linebacker. If you put a linebacker on him, then he's going to be too fast for a linebacker. So he is just a mismatch, a guy you love to have on your team, and I can't wait to see how Ben Johnson uses him in year 2.
All right, coming up next here on CST Daily, the Bears are in full offseason mode, but as Ben Johnson told us last week, it is back to square one. If Clay Harbor, though, was GM, what kind of moves would he make to reshape this team? We discuss next. Bears defense this year, aside from the 33 takeaways that led the NFL, they were bad. 23rd in points allowed, 25th in passing defense, 26th in rushing D, and 29th in total defense. It was clear this past season the Bears defense could not rush with their front four on the D-line. Montez Sweat is getting paid a lot of money. Finished the season with 10 sacks. I think he's more of a number 2 guy. I've said it before here on the show. The Bears must get better pass rushers, run stoppers, linebackers, and DBs that can stay healthy. And of course, I think you need some more speed, Clay, on this defense. NFL free agency begins on March 11th. Trey Hendrickson is the top free agent. And Clay, you are a huge believer in the Bears going after someone like him. Why?
Yeah, I think Trey Hendrickson makes a lot of sense. And the first reason is he has a history with the Bears defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen drafted Trey when he was in New Orleans. I was there too. So I went against Trey when he was a rookie. Knew he was going to be good. The guy was one of those guys that worked really hard. He really wanted to be a good player. Trey Hendrickson 2 years ago led the NFL in sacks with 4th in hits, 4th in pressures. Last year, in limited time, he only played 7 games, but during that time, he ranked 5th in pass rush win percentage. And I turn on the film. This guy still has it. He's still a good pass rusher. He's still explosive. He's still good in the games he did play. So here's what the Bears need to do. Before you offer him a contract, you bring him in on a free agent visit. When you bring him in the visit, you have your medical team look at him. If he's healthy, if you say, is this guy healthy? He had a hip issue, a core muscle issue. If this guy's healthy, sign him. He has a history with Dennis Allen. He can still get after the quarterback. People are saying trade for Maxx Crosby, trade for Myles Garrett. Don't give up anything except for money to sign Trey Hendrickson, and he is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. So to me, that makes more sense. I know he's 31, but the team, you have a rookie quarterback, rookie contract, I think he would make sense in Chicago.
How do you feel, though, about the Bears trading and landing someone like Maxx Crosby? Because on one hand, I know the Raiders value Maxx Crosby a lot. I was in Vegas for about 2.5 years covering the Raiders. Part of me feels like they don't want to move on from him, and because they really do value Maxx Crosby. He has been through this before. The Raiders, they've got the top pick. They're going to get Fernando Mendoza as their quarterback. They have $100 million in cap space to play with. If they can get this head coaching hire right, I think they can see a path forward. But on the other hand, I can understand their timeline really not driving here with Maxx Crosby. And of course, they could get assets back that could help him with the rebuild mode they're out in Las Vegas. So your thoughts on Maxx Crosby becoming a Chicago Bear, if they could swing that?
I think Maxx Crosby is an excellent player. He's one of the best out there. I mean, you saw when he played in Chicago. He's a Tasmanian devil. He's just everywhere. He's stopping the run. He's stopping the pass. He's hitting our quarterback. The guy is really good. But, Tina, I don't want to give up multiple first-round picks or a first- and second-round pick.
That's what it's going to cost you.
You've already seen the hit rate. You were able to get Colston Loveland at 9 last year, at 10. You were able to get Luther Burden in the second round. You were either able to get Ozzie Trapillo, who was your starting left tackle, would have a chance to be your starting left tackle coming into this year, deep in the second round. With a hit rate like that, I don't want to give away draft currency. That's why, to me, a guy like Trey Hendrickson is more appealing, because I don't want to give up currency and draft capital. And a guy like DJ Moore or someone else, I wouldn't be opposed to trading him with his salary, but I think you can get a guy just as good like Trey Hendrickson, Odafe Oweh, another guy I liked, for nothing.
One thing I've learned about Maxx Crosby, though, being out there in Vegas, he has a relentless motor.
It's unbelievable.
You've been saying this week, though, that you think the Bears should cut Tremaine Edmunds and trade DJ Moore. Explain.
So Tremaine Edmunds is a solid linebacker. He's okay. He's decent. He's been doing an okay job. But when you look at the salary, the Bears are over the salary cap. They're actually over. Tremaine Edmunds is making the third most money out of any linebacker in the NFL. I can find 5 guys to make a third of what he's making to do his job, so I'm sorry, you're over the cap. We need to bring in some more reinforcements. I think that makes sense. DJ Moore, I love DJ Moore. You just talked about one of your favorite plays of the season. That was a throw and a catch of DJ Moore. He's been clutch all year long. He is making top 10 wide receiver money nearly, and he's making $28 million a year, the most on the Bears. The Bears have Luther Burden, Colson Loveland, Rome Odunze behind him. I think you have a number of receivers. If you can trade DJ Moore, get back some draft capital, you save all that money, and then you also are able to get another pick, another player in there that isn't far off of what DJ Moore is. I think you got a deep wide receiver room. You could sign another one. So for me, as much as it hurts me to say, I love DJ Moore, especially as a former player. The guy does everything you want. I think it makes sense to move on from DJ.
Deep wide receiver room, but who do you think will end up being the Bears' #1 wide receiver next year? Because Rome Odunze, year 2, kind of, I feel like to me, regressed a little bit.
It regressed. It dropped off. No pun intended with all the drops that he had. I think that Luther Burden is the guy. People thought that he was a slot receiver coming in from the draft. No, this guy can play slot. He can play inside. He can play outside. You can motion him. You can even put this guy in the backfield, Tina. He can do everything you want on your team. And then Colson Loveland isn't your normal tight end. This guy can line up anywhere as well. People call him a tight end, but you can line him up outside. Rome Odunze is going to get better. A hit rate on a guy like Rome is really high. He didn't look good this year, but he's a guy that is an extremely hard worker. With Antoine Randall working with him, I think that Rome is going to get a lot better, and he's going to become a #1 type receiver by the time we see him again next year.
Rome Odunze dealt with some injuries.
Too. He'll be healthy.
Yeah, this past season. Who else should the Bears target in the offseason?
So a couple of guys I like. I brought some notes here. I've been looking for some edge rushers. The Bears need some edge rushers. We want to sack the quarterback. They were 29th according to ESPN in pass rush win rate. Odafe Oweh is a guy, like, you might not have heard of him. He played on the Baltimore Ravens. He got traded to the Chargers. When he was on the Chargers, got traded there October 7th, he had 7.5 sacks and 27 pressures. He had 3 sacks in the team's wild card loss over the Patriots. Odafe Oweh is a guy that you should look at. Jalen Phillips, another edge rusher from Philly. He had a solid year. He was 9th in the NFL in pressures, had an 18.8 pass rush win rate, which was top 10 in the NFL. And then we need a left tackle because we don't think Ozzie Trapillo is going to be ready to go. I think you can take one from one of your arch rivals. I think you take one from the Green Bay Packers, Tina, Rasheed Walker, an offensive tackle, 7th-round pick. He's what we hoped Braxton Jones would have been. He became a really good tackle, really good at pass blocking, a 94 pass block win rate, 11th among 68 offensive tackles. This guy can play. He's a good left tackle. If Ozzie Trapillo isn't there, take one of the better offensive linemen from your rival, the Green Bay Packers. We don't like them.
We do not like them, that's true. What do you feel like is the bigger need for this team right now? Left tackle or D-line pass rush help?
I would say D-line pass rush help, and something that I think people are not talking about is interior D-line. You want edge rush, left tackle. I think interior D-line help could be big too. And a guy I really like is John Franklin Myers from the Denver Broncos. I turned on his film. He's a free agent. This guy's all over the place. You can move him up and down the defensive line. He's only going to be 29 entering the season, 6'4", 288, had 7.5 sacks and 28 pressures last year. So this guy can get after the quarterback. He can stop the run. Interior defensive lineman is an underrated need because, you know, Andrew Billings is gone. He could be gone. He's a free agent. Gervon Dexter didn't live up to all the hype. And I think you're still trying to figure out exactly what you got with the rest of the guys in the middle there.
Looking at the secondary, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, both free agents. Who would you like to see the Bears bring back? And I feel like we kind of know the answer to this because Ryan Poles talked about it at the end of year press conference, how much he likes Kevin Byard. And I think Byard, too, said he wants to return to Chicago. But who do you think the Bears should bring back?
Byard's a little older, but I think you go Byard. Byard led the NFL in interceptions last year with 7. I think he's still playing at a high level. Jaquan Brisker had a really good last game of the year against the Rams. He was all over the place. He's really good down in the box. He's good tackling. He could be an extra linebacker for you at some point. But the thing with Brisker is he's not really good in coverage. And Dennis Allen is a defensive coordinator that likes to run a ton of man coverage. That's not Jaquan Brisker's strength. Jaquan Brisker's strength is when he's tackling the football, he's up in the box and playing down there. A guy like Kevin Byard, you can sit him back. He can play center field catching these fly balls, but those fly balls are interceptions because he led the league in interceptions. So I think Kevin Byard is the right call there. I know he's a little older. And the other thing is, he was the captain of that defense. He's helping these young defensive backs get lined up. One of the big reasons why Nahshon Wright was so impactful, leading the league in takeaways, not turnovers, because he had some fumbles, not like Byard with his interceptions, but both those guys were great, large in part because of Byard being such a good veteran guy to look at.
I was going to say, too, the leadership that he brings there to the defense is really valuable. Which would surprise you more? The Bears missing the playoffs next season or the Bears winning the freaking Super Bowl?
Man, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here. I say I would be a little bit surprised if they missed the playoffs more than the Super Bowl because you look at it, they barely lost to the Rams. That was a game we all think they should have won. They were inches away from winning that game.
Where Caleb threw 3 interceptions and Matthew Stafford did not have a touchdown pass.
They
could have won that game. Yeah.
The Bears didn't have a takeaway. They were that close. And we saw the Rams took the Seahawks down to the final drive. They should have won that game. The Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. So in my opinion, I think the Bears aren't that far off, and I can't see them getting much worse. What are the last words that Ben Johnson said? He goes, hey, we're starting back at square one. We're down at the bottom again. He's not going to let this team take their feet off the gas. He's going to have them coming into this offseason strong. He's going to make sure they know nothing that we did last year matters. We got to come in. We got to build like we did last year from the ground up, do all the work again, and then just to have the opportunity to go back there. But I think they're going to get much better. Ben Johnson's second year in the system, and I see him having another deep run in the playoffs. All
right, and on that note, Clay Harbor from CHSN, thanks so much for your time. The Bears discussion will continue for the next few months here, and of course, a lot more to look forward to.